Hey guys, Vibrant here. Welcome back to my channel for another video. Today's video is going to be a part 2 of the collab that I'm doing with sadmarcus, to where I now review the 4 volumes that he had sent to me. So this video, I'll be talking about The Dangers in My Heart, Go 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 Ghost, Merry Witch's Life, and Takahashi from the Bike Shop. So I'm going to be doing timestamps. So if you want to only hear about 1 or 2, you want to hear about all of them, just stick around. Normally sadmarcus does a 4x1, so I'll be kind of doing the same thing, to where I can go more in depth about all 4 volumes. I don't know which one I'm gonna start with first, but we'll see. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into the review of these volumes. So first up, I'm going to start with The Dangers in My Heart. So in his little note that he had left for this one, he said, look, this one starts off a little weird, but hang in there. This series is excellent. It's one of my tip-top favorites. I love, 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 love this series. So with The Dangers in My Heart, I actually, I know it's really popular. I know a lot of people talk about it, and I think it has an anime. I'm pretty sure it has an anime, but the only reason why I never got into this one is because they're middle schoolers. I normally stay away from middle school romance, just because I feel like I don't relate to it as much. If the characters are in middle school and it has maybe hints of romance, but that's not the sole focus, then I'll read it, like Ultra Maniac. But I never really wanted to get into this one just because of that factor. But basically we have, what's her name? Yamada. So Ichikawa is kind of like a loner. He's kind of weird. He wants to kill everybody. He has this weird creepy vibe to him. And then Yamada, who is a model in their class, she's a lot taller than all the other girls, more developed than all of the other girls. So she's kind of the girl that every guy has a crush on, including Ichikawa has a crush on her. But the way that he expresses his feelings is a little bit different. His way of expressing that he likes her is oh, I want to put it into her. He has a little bit stalkerish tendencies. And Yamada is very aloof. I actually like that, even though she's popular and pretty on a model and everything, she's not kind of this mean girl. She's very aloof. She loves to eat. She does kind of boss people around, and she gets away with it because she's pretty. I don't really want to say boss people around, because I don't know if that's the right word that I'm looking for, but I like that her character isn't mean. She's not a typical mean girl, even though she's the most popular. Now, getting into the meat and potatoes of the story, Ichikawa tends to try to save Yamada from certain circumstances, either draw attention away from her if he thinks that she would be embarrassed, and he always falls flat. Whatever he thinks he's trying to help her, she really just could care less. So it's, a little goofy, little middle school romance. The boys in his class, I guess you could say, are typical middle schoolers, but I feel a little bit extra horny, I guess. I don't know. That's the only thing that I dislike about this. I feel a little weird reading it, since I'm 24, and I don't know, them saying certain things, I'm I don't know, this is a little weird because they're in middle school. Overall though, I think I would give this one a 7 out of 10. I'm probably gonna read the next volume online just to see if I want to keep up with it. A lot of people that really like this one say you have to get past the first volume, then after that it's just a 10 out of 10. But I don't know, them still being in middle school is kind of to me, you know what I mean? But I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Things that I would change about it is kind of the class. It's mainly his classmates that are being weird. So if we didn't have that in there, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. But with that whole thing and then being in middle school, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And I'll probably read the next volume online just to see if I want to keep up with this one. So next one that I'm going to be talking about is Takahashi from the Bike Shop. I have been so eager to talk about this one. So on this one, sadmarcus just says, I think you're going to love this one. I'm a simple girl. I see a romance, they're in love, I like it. Come on now. Like, it's just funny. That's all he had to say. And he knows me to a T. So Takahashi from the bike shop, we have Takahashi, who is 24 years old. He looks like a delinquent. He runs a bike shop. He does bike repairs. He's very blunt. He says whatever he's feeling. He hides nothing. Then we have Panko. I'm going to call her Panko. That's her nickname. We have Panko. She, I think, is like late 20s, maybe 30. She's working at this office. And she kind of can't really stand up for herself. We'll say that. She's like a people pleaser. She doesn't really say what she wants to say. She's kind of like a yes man. Someone asks her to do something, she says yes. Someone asks her to go somewhere, she says yes. People pleaser, yes man, so on and so forth. She always rides by Takahashi's bike shop in the morning, so he's taken notice of her. He notices her bike is kind of screeching, broken, and he's like, hey, bring it to my shop. I'll fix it right up for you. And we go from there. So this one really explores kind of like you can't judge a book by its cover, because Takahashi has this rough exterior and he's very blunt and he's very tough looking. Panko's kind of afraid of him at first, but then once she realizes that he's actually really nice, she kind of starts having feelings for him. This volume, I think, was like such a great volume. I love that they're adults. I love that they're working adults. And it's an adult romance that doesn't kind of circle around office romance. Sometimes we get so tired of them just being in the office and them only spending time in the office. But this one, they hang out outside. They're at his bike shop. This one is really cute. This is really cute. I think this is the first read in kind of a long time where I got the butterflies. Like a lot of the romance, I'm like, oh, that's so cute or that's so sweet. But like this one physically, like I had butterflies in my stomach reading this one, just because like I think Takahashi's such a great character, and I think he's gonna grow out of his quote unquote bluntness while being with Panko. So in this volume, you also learn that Panko has some issues with her mom. Her mom lives by herself with their dog at home, and I don't really know what to say about the relationship. It's very strenuous. She basically only wants to visit her mom because her dog is with her mom. So maybe we'll dive more into their relationship, but I do like how Takahashi has been there for Panko with whatever inconveniences, either if he's there on purpose or by accident, just kind of like showing up, and he helps her out of situations. He makes her feel like her likes and what she enjoys just isn't dismissed because she's late 20s, early 30s. Like she likes anime, she likes manga, all this other stuff. And sometimes she thinks it's kind of childish and silly because that's how people tell her it is. But he's right there to be like, no, that's awesome. I like that too. That's cool. So I'm really liking the relationship. I think Takahashi is gorgeous. Like, I think he's so cool. I really do. They kiss in this volume, so they're kind of already dating by the end of this one. So I think that's really what gave me the butterflies. But definitely Takahashi from the Bike Shop is a must read. If you like romance where the characters are older, this has more of like a serious note. Like I think it handles other issues very well. I did already read volume 2, so I'm not trying to talk about what happens in volume 2. I'm only strictly trying to base it off of volume 1. But definitely read volume 1. Definitely read the series in general. The artwork is very unique. Also, I love the way that it's not kind of like that modern, but it's still pretty. So Takahashi from the Bike Shop, immediate 10 out of 10 from me. Next one that I have is Go 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 Ghost. So for this one, he said, I love this book. It's really fun and refreshing. I hope you get as much enjoyment reading it as I did. So I know that he didn't remember, but he had recommended me to read this book like a while back in one of my videos. And since it was, I think it's 7 chapters, I actually only, or maybe 8 chapters, I only ended up reading the first 3 or first 4, but I don't really remember anything from it. So basically, what is her name? Akechi was working at this job, and she kind of had an affair with this guy at the job, but everyone thought he was a stand-up guy. Everyone was on his side. He breaks up with her, but he kind of makes it look like he had no interest in her at all. So she ends up having to leave that workplace too. Now she also owes him and his wife money and damages, so she's going broke. She's very stressed at her new job. She hates it there. And it's basically like they overwork her. So one day she gets home, she's drinking, she's smoking, she pops some pills because her stomach is hurting, but she pops too many pills mixing with the alcohol, so she's basically overdosing. So we have this guy, the spirit, I don't want to say guy, they're very like androgynous, gender fluid, so I'll say this spirit comes out of nowhere, and they're like basically, oh, I'm your guardian spirit. So they're very, very eccentric. I love the way that they talk to Akechi. They're like, oh, honey, or oh, babe, come on now. So they make a pact to where they're going to curse people in her life that does like some wrongdoing. So mainly the guy that she had the affair with, they're gonna curse him, but there's kind of other like side characters in the story that they end up cursing. So this is 1000% a comedy. I don't know if this would be a josei or a seinen. I'm not sure, but what it does well, I think the comedy of it is really funny. Sometimes the guardian spirit can look very scary and eerie. So the fact that we actually don't really know anything about this guardian spirit, we don't know if they're actually a good spirit. We don't know if they're pretending to be nice to Akechi. We don't really know what's going on. So I think that's pretty cool with that. All the other side characters that we've met so far, like she has this next door neighbor. I like the next door neighbor. There's this person that she met at a restaurant who was kind of a waiter, who was like, I can sense that you have a spirit attached to you. I feel like he's going to be an important character, but we'll see like as we go. This definitely is a very original, like unique idea. I've never read anything like this before. I've never seen anything like this before. So I think I would give this one an 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty funny. From like the first couple chapters, I felt like I had to get through the rest of it to like really form an opinion on it. So by the end of it, I think I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Now the question is, would I continue to buy this one physically? I'm not sure. I would have to read like another volume or two to see like if this is something that I would continue to own. I definitely would recommend reading it and giving it a try. If you like more comedy things, if you like kind of like a female lead who's more, what's the word, like brash? What's that word? I don't know. Do you guys know what's what is the word, kind of where she's like not blunt, but she's a strong female character. I'll say that for sure. I'll definitely say that for sure. At work, she's a little bit of a pushover just because like she doesn't want to lose her job, but she has a very like strong personality. She's very mischievous, just like her guardian spirit. So I definitely recommend giving it a try. I don't think this would be for everybody, but if you want like a comedy, like I cannot think of the word I'm looking for. Like adult comedy. Yeah, I'll say like adult comedy, but there's a specific word for it that I cannot think of right now. But I definitely say give it a try. So I would give this one an 8 out of 10. And last but not least, I have Mary, which is Life. The Three Widows of, I never know how to say this, Burlibigile, but I've been saying Mary, which is Life. So he said about this one was my wild card. I read it about a month or so ago and loved it. I also thought about you when I read it, and I thought this might be something you'd like. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So I have been wanting to get into more like witchy, more slice of life, like mystical, magical series. So this one is definitely one that I was the most excited to read. just because it was like, I feel like a little bit different than what I normally read. So Mary Witch's Life, we have Zoe, Shishka, and Eliza. Zoe just lost her husband Clive. She's a witch and he was a human, and she just lost him. Eliza is a scarab beetle who also just lost her husband. And Zoe, we don't really know what Zoe is, but she also lost her husband. So the three of them are widows, and now they're kind of forming up to learn more magic to bring their husbands back to life. So Zoe and Shishka actually have been friends for a very long time. Once Zoe had met Clive and they got married, the three of them lived together in kind of like this farm country. It's a very small community. So the three of them lived in this house, and unfortunately, you know, Clive had passed away. So Zoe and Shishka already knew each other, and then they met Eliza. I think Zoe was gonna end her life basically like, if Clive can't be here with me, then I don't want to be here at all, which, like, girl, I feel you. But she met Eliza in her beetle form, and then they both share their stories about their loves, and then they form this friendship. So Zoe was like, oh, you know, I'm a witch, and why don't we bring our husbands back to life? So now Eliza transforms back and forth from her beetle form to like her human form. I think Eliza is the cutest character in the story just because she's normally a beetle, so she knows nothing about like human world. She hates wearing clothes. She hates wearing shoes. So there's a lot of like interesting side characters in this story as well. So the best thing about this story is all of the side characters. So you have Clay, who is Clive's best friend. He owns and works like at this lighthouse, and Clay can see ghosts, but he didn't tell anybody that he can see ghosts. He can see them, he can talk to them. I think that's super cool. And then we have, I think they were calling him Coyote Man. I can't like remember his name, but Coyote Man ends up moving into town. He was from out of town, so he moves in and he buys like this old house, and people always said it was haunted. And little does he know there is like this carriage that is kind of possessed. So he gets scared, but then he ends up making friends with this carriage. So a lot of like fun, a lot of wacky things. The main plot of the story is the three of them trying to bring their husbands back, but it's also friendship. It's also learning new spells, casting spells that they're not getting correctly at first. And then by the end of the volume, you learn that there is a kind of like a darker undertone, a secret to this town that I think we're going to end up uncovering, you know, later volumes. So the only thing that I dislike about this is I think it's a little on the wordier side. You guys know how I am about reading a lot of words. Like some pages have like quite a few speech bubbles. Some pages barely have any speech bubbles. It is, I feel like, a little bit like thicker for a volume. Like I think it's pretty thick for a volume, and I believe, yes, there are 9 chapters in this volume, and then there are a couple bonus stories. So it is a little bit thicker, so it's a little bit longer to get through. But that's really my only my gripe with it. I think I would give the overall story about a 7.5, just because it's nothing kind of like groundbreaking or nothing that I thought was so amazing, but the whole thing is just really cute. Like, I love all the characters. There's not a single character that I dislike. There's not a single character that I was like, oh, I wish we didn't have to learn about them. Eliza is definitely my favorite because she's just so cute. But I definitely recommend reading this one. If you like witches, or if you like mystical stories, or even if you just like slice of life, I definitely recommend reading this one. Yeah, but I think I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, so what are my final thoughts for the 4 series? Takahashi from the Bike Shop, gonna keep going physically. Mary Witch's Life, I'm gonna keep going physically. Go, 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 Ghost, and Dangers in My Heart. I think I'm gonna read a couple more volumes online first to see if I'm gonna continue them physically. Out of the 4, and it's not like I hate it, and it's not like it's bad, but I think out of the 4, my least favorite, I think my least favorite was The Dangers in My Heart, only because of the middle school setting. And then out of the 4, my favorite, obviously, Takahashi from the Bike Shop. I gave it a 10 out of 10. But I definitely do recommend reading all 4 of these volumes if you ever get the chance to read all 4 of them. But definitely, again, go check out sadmarcus and his channel. He is going to be doing a 4x1 on his channel at some point about the 4 volumes that I had chose for him, and he'll be unboxing the 4 volumes on his channel. But just a quick side note for upcoming videos, I will be doing my next video after I upload this one will be more shoujo recommendations, since that seems to be what you guys want the most. Then the next one after that, I'll be doing the manga that I think is good for beginners, because that's pretty close to the shoujo recommendations. Then after that, I'll just be playing it by ear, drop a manga shopping, manga haul here and there, and then all of my other side videos. I definitely want to work on doing another manga reading vlog, because it seemed like you guys really liked that video. So I'm really happy that that went well, because that took me a really long time to edit. So now I'm looking forward to doing more of those. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. Every single time I say join the Discord, and you guys aren't doing it. What's going on? Come on, hang out with us. But what was I gonna say without further ado? This is the end of the video. I'll just see you guys next time. Bye.